You know those ones where you're completely fine, everything's going smooth, you're starting your day with high energy, you've got that workout in, you're feeling good, you know what I mean, you're eating clean, and then you just check social media and you see something that completely throws your whole vibration off. Like you're not even feeling like the same individual anymore. And then you forget, as you slowly slip out of alignment, you forget what it was that actually displaced you in the first place. It was seeing something that you didn't need to see. You did not need to see. You thought that you needed to check it, but suddenly you've ended up in this maze of scrolling endlessly, consuming things that are throwing off your frequency, whether it be violence happening in different countries, whether it be drama and gossip. Social media is depleting you and robbing you of your vitality and energy. You know, they say comparison is the thief of joy. That's social media. You know, you go in there and you're comparing yourself to others. You don't know their journey, and you're looking, and there's the elements of desire that come up. It may not be outright disdain, but you begin to desire things that you weren't desiring before. You're desiring things, and you have to think, why is me obtaining said materialistic thing gonna allow me to help more people? Is this having a positive impact on the world, or do I just want it for myself? Selfish. These needs and these things, you know, we go on these platforms, and not only are we consumed by the platforms, we're consumed by the belongings of other people. Think about it. Such a sick trap. Vicariously enjoying places, building up the desire, but the desire is built on 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 nothing, because there's no substance. You're desiring something that someone else has, that you're seeing, and you have this relationship with them that's just online, and you're living vicariously. But how is that tapping into you? How is that helping anyone? Comparison's the thief of joy. Why did I say that? Because we know it's just a highlight reel. We know that that's a small element. You know, social media is a highlight reel. It's people posting their best bits, unfiltered. They're posting the best versions of them, but that's not the truth. Now, what happens is, when you are living your normal day to day life and someone else is engaging in the highlight reel activity, what I like to call this is, it's almost the 3% versus the 97%. The 97% of the majority of people's life is normal, mundane, working, driving, eating, bathing, toilet, is simple. The 3%, that's the highlight reel. But now you're being inundated by this 3%. And it's building something inside of you where you're craving this 3%. And it takes away your appreciation for the 97%. But the issue is, the 90%, the 97% is the majority of your life. This is where you're going to have to live. And when you begin to learn, even when you have all of these things, you still need to live in the 97%. Because even people with a lot of money, they have to work in some capacity. There is defined periods where they go on holiday, whether that be footballers, celebrities. I'm just using these examples because they're the dominant figures that you'll see engaging in high level activities. But they still have to work for a set period of time. The concept really intrigues me. You can only wear one watch at a time. You can only have one laptop. And by have, I mean the necessity is only there to use one. Like, Right now, if I had 6 laptops, it wouldn't positively increase my life. Meaning the diminishing returns, the point of diminishing returns for a laptop is essentially one. I'm not talking about having multiple monitors set up. If we talk about phones, where's the point of diminishing returns for phones? Probably at about 3. So meaning, even if you have 100 million, 1 billion, you're gonna have max 3 phones, because anything more than that is obsolete. Is actually gonna start decreasing your level of productivity and your ability to separate things. Having a watch, great, is not knocking the timepieces. I like a good timepiece. The fact of the matter is, you can only wear one at one point in time. And when I say you only can, I'm talking within reason. You see rappers wearing 2 watches, but a lot of the time it just doesn't really look. It doesn't look very fashionable, and it's quite impractical. Okay, yeah, technically you can wear 3 watches on one wrist, but who's doing that? It doesn't help you. The point of diminishing returns is with a watch in terms of what you can actually wear on your wrist is probably about 1. Because what I mean by that is the practicality of the watch is to be able to tell the time, obviously, is a statement piece, but having 3 watches doesn't allow you to tell the time any better. Are you following where I'm going with this? So I just find it crazy. Like, we get caught up in this comparison and these things, and we're chasing the 3% when really everyone lives in the same 97%. And when you obtain the materialistic things, the rate of adjustment to them is so fast. Even a car, even if you have a nice car, you're just going to drive it to the same places. Even if you go to the gym, there's definitely a point at diminishing returns. And I think if I'd known this from younger, I'd have been chasing the right things, because personal development, you can never exceed your success. Your success is kind of capped at your level of personal development, and that is where it's best to invest into, because there's not a ceiling, or there's not diminishing returns where, like, the more you invest into this, the worse is going to be. Like, becoming the best version of yourself is never going to be a negative. There's never going to be a negative, and there's never a cap. Whereas these other things are very fleeting, and you begin to believe that things that you're seeing are true. We haven't even gotten to the facade of things. The fact that, it's the 3%, and it looks like it's reflective of the whole thing. So I say this to say, something that I'm currently working on now is really developing, enjoying the 97%, which is most of life. We all eat the same. We all have the phones. We like, if you're fortunate enough to be watching this, you have internet, you have laptop, you should be so grateful. It circles back to having a level of gratitude for the things around you, and to not succumb to the pressures from the outside.